Welcome to Grief Healing for Moms. My name is Fabiana Batista, and I am a mom who suffered the unimaginable heartbreak of her baby's passing. My baby passed away at 4 months old from SIDS. And through my grief and healing journey, I have been able to rediscover joy, which is the reason why I started this podcast, to help and support other moms that have also lost their child, their children, and to give a space where we can talk about our stories, talk about our healing journeys, and talk about tools that have helped us rediscover joy again. And I want the space to be a place of hope and healing. So with me today is a very strong mama who lost her baby just a couple of days before her due date. And she's going to share with us today her story of her baby's passing. She's also going to share her healing journey and also tools that have helped her to rediscover happiness again. So welcome, Maite.
Hi, Fabiana.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here.
Oh, yeah. So before we get started into your story and your baby's story, what would you like our viewers to get out of you sharing your story today?
Well, like I said, first, thank you for having me. This is a very special podcast. There's something that resonates with me in the fact that we are able to talk to other people that have, other moms that may have already been through this, and maybe in the future they see this and possibly go through this. So I thought about why it is that I'm doing this. And I'll be honest with you, I even spoke to my husband, and he's like, why are you doing this? Like, you're reliving it. But it's threefold. So what I want the viewers to see out of this is really informational and awareness of situations that happen that are considered more of a faux pas, that society doesn't speak about. And when it occurred and it happened to us, it was kind of like, why? Like, we live in this 21st century, first world country. This doesn't happen. I thought this happened in like the 1800s. This is something that we didn't like foresee. So informational and awareness. The second is really for myself, a little bit of just talking to somebody about it. I don't talk about it very much. So I have groups of friends. There's my family and the closest ones to us. They know everything and they supported us through it. But the friends that I hang out with now in a new school, per se, nobody really knows about it because I haven't opened up and talked about it. So it's really for me to talk about. And then thirdly is consolation and sharing our journey, well, my journey in this case, and that there is life after this, and you will find joy, and God will help you and guide you through it. And there is a beautiful life at the other side of this. Is just trusting the Lord and how to get you there, and just trust that there is another side to this, and you will continue to grow and you will find joy eventually. Just there was a process.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanted
love
the viewers and my purpose for sharing today.
Well, I truly hope that this becomes, or that it turns out to be a therapeutic space for you to share. I know it's hard and it's a difficult conversation because, like you said, you're kind of reliving everything. But I truly feel that when we talk about it and when we talk about what happened, every time there's a little bit more healing. Even if you talk about it 20 years from now, there's still healing in talking about it. Yeah. So I really hope that that's it for you. And I'm sure that with your story, we'll be able to hopefully reach moms and help them see that there is hope, and that if you and I were able to heal at the end of such a traumatic experience, that they can too. Yeah. So tell us your story. How long ago was it?
So it was 2018, September 26, 2018. It's funny because you learn to memorize it like a birthday, right? But it's not a birthday. It's the anniversary of the death. So it's my third child, my third pregnancy. So I had Julian and Giovanna, my two oldest, and then we got pregnant with our third. We weren't done. And really, it was, we had a very healthy wellness check with the doctor on Monday. I was scheduled for Friday. We went out. My husband had been out for a couple of weeks doing some restoration. He works for FPL, so it was very like, he was gone for a little bit restoring for a hurricane that had just passed. And when he came home, we celebrated. So we went out to eat dinner. We went to the doctor's. We went out to eat dinner. And then at night, I started to feel contractions. And I'm like, oh my God, 5 days left. Like, it's a C-section. I'm not supposed to be getting contractions, but it's not on my time. It's on their time. So eventually I went into the doctor, at which point they're like, listen, we're going to have to call it. There's no heartbeat. You lost a baby. And I only had, like I said, it was 5 days away. And that was crazy. Because when you see the day before or less than 24 hours before we had gotten a healthy baby check, I'm you know what? It's a little bit more, about 36, because I was having contractions for a while and the baby had already passed. And I know that by the time that we had the C-section, the baby had already started to decompose. So
you still had to have the
C-section.
C-section.
Yeah, so this is where a little bit of the informational part comes in. Like, there's a lot of things that occur kind of to differentiate between a stillbirth and a miscarriage. A miscarriage you have at up to 20 weeks. And then you go in and you have what's called a DNC, and they clean you and you walk away.
Okay.
You're
I didn't know
emotional
that.
distraught. I didn't either. So it feels
Surreal.
Regardless of the situation that you're in, whether it's a miscarriage or a stillbirth.
So yours was considered a
A
stillbirth.
stillbirth, yes. Anything after 20 weeks in gestation, it's called a stillbirth. And another difference that they don't talk to you about is when you have a miscarriage, you walk in and you have the miscarriage, they do the DNC, and the body is disposed of. You walk away. When you have a stillbirth, so after 21 weeks through 40, which I was at 39, they give you the baby back. So, and it was the biggest baby I had had. All of my two previous and my most recent, they were about 6 pounds. This is an 8 pound, close to 8 pound baby.
Wow.
Very full. He looked beautiful. Like, I saw a resemblance between my other kids. But by the time that they handed me over the baby, he had already started to, like, the skin was peeling. There was, it was gory. There was blood coming out. I didn't want to hold him at first. I was very afraid of how I would respond, and, getting a little bit more attached, I guess. You're afraid. You don't know how your emotions are gonna take over and your body will just respond. But I held him. The nurse guided me. The most incredible nurse in the world in Mercy. She's like, listen, I know right now you don't know what to do. This isn't something that we're taught to do, but I have seen that if you carry them, you get to say goodbye. So I carried the baby a little bit reluctantly, and then I fell in love because they're inside of you, for 9 months. You're already in love. You're already a mom. You're already, like, that baby is already part of your family. And we had a baby shower. We had celebrated. The rooms were converted. They were ready for it. Cribs created. Everything was ready to take them home. Take him home.
What was his name?
Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Yeah. So we're all J's. So anyways, they handed me the baby, and I just stared. Like, I didn't know what to do. You want to kiss the baby, you want to hold, you want to snuggle, but you see the baby and it's gory, so it's, and I didn't want that memory.
Gory, you mean because he was in your belly for a few days after his heart stopped, right?
From what they understand, based on, it was a healthy checkup on Monday. And then it was Wednesday when,
And you ended up going to the hospital, right?
yes. So I actually,
Because of the contractions.
because of the contractions, yes. So funny story, well, not that funny, but I ended up having contractions starting that night. And I call the doctor. I'm like, I'm having contractions. And they're like, you're dehydrated. It's summer. It's hot. Put your feet up. Drink a lot of water and see if the Braxton Hicks, maybe they'll go away. I'm like, okay. So I relaxed. We went to sleep. We woke up. I'm still having contractions, but they did subside over the night. And then when I wake up, again, contractions. Let's take the kids to school, well, my son, and then we'll play it by ear and see what happens. More contractions. They're becoming more steady. I remember talking to my cleaning lady at the time I was there. She was helping me get ready for the baby. And she's like, I would check. You know, you're not really supposed to be having contractions. I had never had a contraction. So I didn't know what it felt like, what was right, what was wrong.
And in all this, your husband is away for work still, right?
So he went to close out.
Okay.
Right? He hadn't been to the office in a couple of weeks. He had returned the day before, so he went back to the office to close out, and then he was going to help me, pick up the baby. My son, get the bag, and I was just like, okay, well, if this is contractions, I've seen what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Like, I've had 2 babies. There's C-sections. They weren't the same, path, but when you get contractions, I know that you walk to help them along, to ease it out or help it come. And then we'll go to the hospital. I'm very cool and calm and collected. I'm gonna go do my nails because I know I'm not gonna do my nails for like a month. I went to go do my nails, and my kids went to go have lunch with my husband. And when I was done with my nails, we went back home. I'm very cool, calm, and collected the whole time. I'm having contractions, but I can bear it. It's nothing unbearable. We're timing them. They told me to go in when they're about 5 to 6 minutes apart. Mind you, I'm not supposed to be getting contractions because I'm a C-section. Like, we couldn't do that. And then I drop off the kids at my mom's house. Again, cool, calm, and collected, painting my nails blue because it was boring. And then when they tell us that, I had started to get contractions because the baby, your body starts to push out whatever is not needed anymore. Like, it's your body's like a rechazo. I don't know how to explain. Like,
Like it's just cleaning out or rejecting.
There you go. So the body was rejecting, and the contractions were, I was going into labor to reject what had already passed. So my son had already passed when I had started receiving the contractions. It wasn't a matter of he was alive until then.
Right.
It was my body saying it's time to go.
So when you went to the hospital, they did the ultrasound, and that's when you found out,
Yes.
right?
So I was very happy. We were super ecstatic. We went, they strapped the baby monitor over me, and the lady's like, oh, I think it's not working. Let me go get another baby monitor. But she knew, right? Oh. And she's like, while I was at it, I brought our ultrasound tech as well. He's going to do an ultrasound on you as well while I adjust the baby monitor. Like, okay, no problem. And I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm talking to my husband. It's coming. And then the guy has this face, and he's like looking, and he's looking. There's no red marks. The red is the heart and the blood pumping. There's no red marks. It's all fetal matter, basically. And he's like, I'm sorry. It was the longest 5 minutes ever. His words were, I'm going to have to call it. There's no baby left. He's no longer alive, or something like that. I forgot the words. After he said, I'm going to have to call it, I went beep, and I just broke down. I called my mom. I held my breath, and I called my mom. I had just dropped off the kids, and I'm like, Mom, I lost a baby. I'm okay. I have to go. And I hung up on her.
Oh my God.
And that's it. I couldn't get more words out. I didn't want her to think something had happened to me, which is, of course, the first thing that your parents think. This was like 9-something at night. And then the doctor, since it's at night, the doctors aren't there if there's no scheduled, right? So she's at home, she's driving over, and they put me on the phone with her, and they're like, listen, you have 2 options. I'm so sorry. I heard what happened. You have 2 options. I know that you're having contractions, but we can make you comfortable and give you something so that you don't have contractions, and you have the C-section tomorrow for you to like process. Or I go and we had the C-section now. I'm like, no, now. I want to see him now. I had just seen one of those reels on Instagram where they had a baby and they were twins, and one of the twins was stillborn, and they were happy with one and they were mourning the other, and then when they put the two babies together, it like made the other one come to life.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, I just saw this, like, what if I just hug him and you take him out of me and I hug him and he'll be back to normal and he'll be fine, and it was all just a joke and it was just a nightmare and it comes back.
Yeah.
So they gave him to me when I had a C-section, and I saw it wasn't gonna happen. He was gone a while ago. It wasn't recent. And then they gave me like Valium to like pass out. So I think I was out for like 45 minutes. And then when I woke up, they're like, do you want to see the baby? And like I said, initially I was like, no, I think it's better if I don't see. I think I can cope if I just forget. And that's when the nurse, who was a blessing, she was crying. Everybody was crying with me. The doctor cried while doing the C-section. She had just had a baby herself.
Oh.
She was amazing. It's something to be a doctor going through this and having had an experience like that recently. You know, like she just gave birth and she's pulling out that baby out of me. So she cried with me. She held my hand. She's like, I'm so sorry. Let me be here for you. We still keep in touch. She moved. We still keep in touch. And this nurse was just heaven sent. She was like, this isn't, like, it's not a normal protocol,
right,
unfortunately.
Of course.
Even though it happens, this is part of the informational part that I wanted to share, but it's not something that they're prepared to address, right? So this nurse took it upon herself to take a picture, even though
Of the baby?
Of the baby, yeah. Even though I didn't want to carry him, I was just like, I was in.
What did you feel during all of that? Because I would expect everything was moving pretty fast.
It was very fast.
So what was that? What were you feeling during that time? Like, what was that like?
So it was scared for multiple reasons. So other than the absolute devastation of, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, what is my next step? There is another world that we were supposed to be living right now. What my husband later ended up calling our parallel universe, where we have 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl, and we're happy. And that just died. Like that vision of our future life together just evaporated. And there's this has to be a joke or a nightmare. I'm going to wake up and it's going to go away. And then I remember thinking, there's a lot of like silly thoughts that go through your mind. And like I said, this, like you mentioned as well, this happened in like 45 minutes from the time that I had the C-section to really a couple pivotal points was very quick, like 45 minutes, because they handed you the baby, and even though I was reluctant, I was like, this is surreal. I can't believe this. I refuse to believe this. Super denial. This isn't happening. Come back to life. Come back to me. God, why? That you repeat that over and over again. Why? Why us? Why now? We've been very faithful. We've been with you for everything. We're teaching our family to follow in your path. Why? And then there's I don't know what to do now. Like the simple process of just get up and go, or what's the next steps? And I have a baby now, what do I do? So this nurse was, like I said, God shows up to you in different modes. She was an angel. She helped guide me. This is next steps. She took a picture, even though I didn't want to take a picture. She made me a box. And she went and she bought her a box herself. Mm-hmm. And she took the picture and she got the clothes that they wrapped him in and the blanket and the hat. And she made like a little memory book.
Aww.
And she didn't have to do this. This is not protocol.
Of
this
course.
Is not part of anything. This is her. Like, she cried with me. She held me. She cleaned him up so that when I carried him, she didn't have, everything on him. And she gave me that box. And to this day, that's the only thing I have of him.
Oh my gosh.
So that box means the world to me.
Of course, it's the only little pieces that are left.
It's the tiny things that just remind you to cherish the small joys and really appreciate the angels that God puts in your way. And then she is also the one that gave us a paper that gives us the options of what do we do. Like, so they give you the body. Again, this is a difference between miscarriage and stillborn. You receive the body, you keep the body, and you have to determine if you're going to have a funeral with a burial or a cremation. And there's the legalities of it. You now officially get a death certificate. You don't get a birth certificate, you get a death certificate. And
so she walked you through.
she walked us through
that?
everything. Yeah, she
So
registered.
there was nobody that came from the hospital, like a hospital representative of some sort. I don't know from somewhere in the hospital to tell you, hey, we're
It
very
was
sorry
her.
for your loss. These are the next steps, like to guide you in
No.
that.
No, and that was something that I actually brought up to my OBGYN when we had our follow-up visit. And he's like, what's something that we could do better? I'm like, have like something ready. Just, you
Right,
don't
because
want to expect this. You don't want to be prepared for this. But as a hospital, just have something ready so that you can prepare somebody through the process.
Right.
So it was a photocopied, like ultra Xerox, slightly slanted paper of local funeral homes that can come pick up the body in the next hour or so. You call them and they have a certain time frame, and then you have to decide, are you going to have the funeral or are you going to cremate, and what services are you going to have? And you have to decide in like 45 minutes. It's not like, let me process. I just found out what happened and let me see what my options are. Like,
Right.
even with any other circumstance, you have a little bit of time to expect the unexpected. This was like a matter of 45 minutes between, let's build a crib, we're gonna take him home, he's gonna be home in a couple of days, and never mind, let's plan a funeral. And that, I didn't make decisions. I'm like, I delegated that to my husband. He contacted. I think it was like at midnight we started calling because they had to be take responsibility and come. They could come a little bit later, but they needed to take responsibility for the body immediately.
Right.
So that happened, and then afterwards, you're not allowed to go back into the labor and delivery maternity ward because I have no baby. I went through everything, but no baby. So they put you in like this intensive care area of the hospital.
Right, because you just had a C-section, so you still had a surgery of some
Yes.
sort. So that's right. So you couldn't just leave.
I can't just get up and leave. I had to stay under supervision for 48 hours, and I can't go to maternity ward. Mind you, everything else happening in your body is still a maternity mode. Milk comes in. You're still releasing. Things are still happening.
Right.
They put me in an ICU. I'm sorry, not an ICU. They put me in a hospital bed in a different area so that there aren't any babies and sounds around. And they gave me a nurse, and the nurse is a brand new male nurse, like young 20s.
So a young boy, pretty
Young
much.
boy, and that was my nurse. So for anybody that's had,
Which knows nothing
yeah,
about,
anything
About
biologically and anatomically, anything
especially about a pregnant woman.
about exactly and what happens immediately after. So in order to take care of myself, I had already had 2 kids. I had already had 2 babies. So I knew what was happening. And this boy is asking me, what do I need? I'm like, I need a maternity nurse. I need those magical people that come and help you and guide you and help you move everything along. I need a pump. I need something, I need multiple
That's
things.
right, because you needed to get the milk out.
It was painful actually. And then he didn't know. And the maternity ward nurses never came. And I'm just like, I got this. I bathed myself, I took care of myself, and I called my doctor. He was out of town, which is why I had a different doctor. And he's just, I called him directly and I'm like, I need to get out of here. I'll take care of myself better at home than here. And they're like, listen, protocol is 48 hours. But if you sign something, we can release you. And I'm like, I'll sign whatever you need. I need to get out of here. I've done this before. I know what to expect. I just can't be here being like helped by a male nurse and
Was not doing
who's
anything
not
for
doing
you.
anything. I'm taking care of myself anyways.
Right.
So I came home. Actually, before I came home, I had 24 hours there. So many people came that I did not expect. I had my parents show up. I had my husband's parents show up and our family. But we had the principal to my kid's school and his teacher show up.
Wow.
And my son had only been in school for 1 month.
Oh.
They were brand new people. They came from he was in a very amazing daycare center, a day school, not daycare. And that principal and that teacher came and they prayed with me. They consoled me. They went back and to school. And when they saw me, they gave me the warmest embrace. They were strangers, complete strangers. And that show of just love and kindness to a complete stranger melted me.
Oh.
I know that you expect your family and I know you expect your friends to show up, but when it impacts somebody else and God shows you his mercy through somebody else or his love through somebody else, it's like, wow, it impacts you differently. So again, I was released, I came home, and there the journey starts. That is really where you start to kind of reposition yourself in life and where do we stand. I have 2 kids. I can't just sit down and crumble. I can't just like stop being their mom because of this. You know, I need to remember him and respect what my memory of him, but I need to continue on for my kids. Right. So that's really where everything starts. And
Was that one of the, like, what was your lowest point? Was it, I would expect it was probably where that happened.
well, that was bad, but no, there's multiple. So remember, it happens September 26th, right at the beginning of like the holiday season.
Oof.
So
Even harder.
it was brutal. That holiday season was brutal. We were the ones that celebrated Nochebuena. I ordered everything. I'm like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I ordered the tables. I ordered the chairs. We ordered the food. We ordered everything. And then morning of, I couldn't. I couldn't celebrate. I can't open my heart to this joy. I can't allow myself. What kind of mom allows themselves to celebrate a holiday? And that's really what would play in my mind. Halloween skipped. Thanksgiving almost skipped. But I ended up going to see my cousin, and there was a baby there that was about the same age as mine would have been. I should have skipped. And then Nochebuena, New Year's, everything, we ended up staying home and we didn't celebrate anything that year. So my lowest point was around Nochebuena and New Year's, because I had already seen that I wasn't going to be able to have that much time having a newborn. So I think I had already started to buy gifts.
Oh.
And I had like all these things, and I was just like, okay, I am not with my family. I am not able to celebrate. I can't find peace and joy in our like regular everyday habits. Who am I? Where am I? Lord, where are you? I feel like this is not getting any better. Like I expected something different. And then I also realized that my mom was taking it very hard. She had taken it very hard. They tell you, my stepmom was one that told me, listen, us as moms feel our kids' pain sometimes much more than even they feel it, because us, like the ones that went through it, we go into survival mode. We try to fight through, and we find a way of finding joy and be able to move on. My mom was just feeling it through me, and let me help you, let me be there for you.
Yeah,
And
mine took it pretty hard too.
my mom, our parents really, really took it hard. So
Sorry.
no, trust me.
I forgot about that part.
The moms, they feel it through us. Kind of When something happens to my daughter now, I feel like I get more angry than even she gets over it, and I'm like, I can't believe that happened. I want to help you. I want to save you from that pain, but they can't.
Yeah.
So I saw my mom, like, I couldn't go to her for consolation because I would bring it back up with her. And she was going through it as well. My sister was there, but honestly, I was using my sister to help me with my kids. And she was helping us move forward. She was cooking for us and like creating a group, support group. My friends were present. I can't say anybody left us. We were very, very lucky. But I got to the point, and my husband, very, very good point. My husband, from the day that we left the hospital, he said something that resonates. Even to this day, I think about it. We will now start the journey on our parallel universe. And he used that term, and I was just like, that's exactly what it is. Because we had this vision, like I said, of our kids and our beautiful, happy family, 3 kids moving forward. And now it's like you daydream about where that life was leading you towards, but it took a turn. Right. And now you can look back at that life and it's in another universe, and that existing life just keeps going. But, you know, like right now he would be about 7 years old, about to turn 7 years old. And you think, oh my God, what would it be like having, so you think that. I can't think that now, because if I think that, then I probably wouldn't have had my youngest now. Yeah. If I hadn't gone through that. So you feel guilty. I'm not going to think that. But my husband walked out of the hospital and said that to me, and I'm like, okay, God, if he's the one that's going to continue on, let him lead me. Let him be the one that is the one that's going to forge the way through. He's going to be a steady figure in our lives, and we're going to look up to how he handles it and just continue on. So as a mom, we're the ones that physically go through it. He went through it in a different way. He went through it emotionally. He supported me. He helped me. And he continued the family. He made sure that the kids kept going to school. He kept, food was there. We had a whole support system. Right. My sister, my family, our friends. But he made sure that everything just kept going, because without that, we wouldn't have had our consistency, and I don't know what would have happened. Right. So
yeah, he was the support. He was your support system, which it's so incredibly important.
Yes.
Because it's one thing to have it from sometimes maybe family, but I feel like the husband plays such an important role, because they're not only the support system, like they manage things so the household can still run,
right?
But also they're there to kind of just hold us when we need to break down.
Yep. So I had many moments of breaking down, and then just looking to him for the support and seeing how he would lead the way, and like, this is where my family is at. Let me meet them out where they are, and like, he's going to continue on. Let me meet them. Let me continue to get back on. Let me break down, get back on. So like I said, we're going back to my lowest point around New Year's. And I realized that I wasn't talking to anybody about it. Like, I was broken inside and still asking, Lord, why? I can't believe this is happening.
That why is a rabbit hole.
That why is hard.
That why. I talk about that a lot in the first episode, and the why is a tricky one, because that's what I feel like, that's the gateway to
the bad,
to a place where there's no recovery, there's no healing, there's no hope, because even if you get an answer to the why, is never going to be enough.
Right.
It's never going to be enough for you to say, oh, okay, well, that makes it better. No. Right? No matter what the answer is, it's never going to be enough. Right. But it's so easy to go and ask why. But why God? Why God? And that's one of the things that I had to stop myself from doing. And I told Danny, I was like, I don't want to ask why, because it's going to be bad. With my dad years prior, that was the main thing. Why? And you never get an answer. And even if you do get an answer, it's never going to be enough.
Yep.
But it's so easy to go and ask why, not knowing that asking why leads to that place of, I call it a place of, it's a dark place. It was a
very
dark
dark
place
place.
for me. But if you just say, I don't know why this happened, but
There's a
help
plan.
me out here,
Yeah.
then it's a different way. It's just kind of rewarding it.
Yeah.
But the why is a tricky one.
The why is a very hard
It's a
question.
slippery road.
So the why, it goes back to even the day that they handed me the baby. They asked me first, do you want to have an autopsy to figure out what happened? And do you want to find out why this happened? And the nurse, again, Angel, was like, listen, what conclusion are you going to get from this? So I thought about it. I'm like, okay, if it's our fault, she said, no matter what comes back, you're probably gonna feel some sort of blame. Like, you're gonna find a way of twisting it so that it's your fault. Just think, this happened, God had a reason, there's a plan, and his plan is perfect. So just, like, if you're okay with it, find a different way of approaching. So even from the autopsy part, the question, we decided, let's not do the autopsy. They declared it's intrauterine fetal demise. That's the official diagnosis, I guess, what it's called. What they put on the death certificate. But the why is definitely something you don't ever get to answer, and
Yeah.
it's a faith question. It's a matter of why, but I'm going to continue.
Now that you mentioned faith, what was your relation? What role did your faith play in your journey, like your relationship with God? Because I know you've mentioned God a few times.
Yes. Okay. So that it's different stages in the grieving process, different forms that he presented himself. So my faith at first was questioned, and I think it happens naturally with anybody. Like,
Of course.
where are you? Why did you allow this to happen? We're faithful. We're here. I'm raising my kids faithfully. So why is this happening? And then it evolves into anger. And then even when I tried to explain it to my son, so imagine my son was 4 years old. He was very much looking forward to it. He's still little, still doesn't understand. I can't explain it. But I go to explain to him, the baby isn't here. He passed away. Papa Dios took him, and he's going to keep him. He needs an extra angel, something along those lines. I Googled what to say. I didn't know what to say to him. He's not going to be a part of our lives, but we love you very much, and we loved him very much, but God needs him more than we do, so he has him. Somewhere along those lines.
That's a really pretty way of saying it, though.
So it got really tricky. It got very tricky. He didn't understand. We ended up getting clear to for me to travel, not to travel, to go. And we went to mass. And at the end, I'll never forget, at the end of the first mass that we went to, I think it was like a week or two after it had happened, he gets up, my son, 4 years old, he gets up and he starts running down the middle aisle at the end of mass. And my husband starts running after him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "My brother's here. He's in God's house. If God has him, he's here in God's house. I want to see him."
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That was difficult because it crossed the tangible and the faith and my story, and how do I explain this? I'm sorry he's not here today. We'll talk to you about it. I don't even know how we addressed that. I broke down with that one, but that was very realistic way of seeing how they didn't understand, and they have this faith of he's still alive, he's still here. Where is he if God has him? So, as far as the next part of the journey in the faith, there's this parable. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's the drowning man's parable. Have you heard of it? So, there's this parable where a city is being flooded. Short version of it. A city is being flooded, and a car comes to the old man's house, and they say, come, the city is being flooded. We have to evacuate the city. Come now before it's too late. And he's like, no, don't worry. I'm waiting for God to save me. No, don't worry. And then it starts flooding, and he has to go to the roof of his house. You heard this parable? And then he gets
keep
a
going.
boat.
You tell it.
Okay, so he has to go to the roof of his house, and he's getting flooded, and a boat shows up. He's like, come with me. It's being flooded. Let's save you. Let's get you out of here. Like, no. I'm waiting for God to save me. Okay, and then the water rises. A helicopter comes. Same deal. No. I'm waiting for God to save me, and he drowns.
Right.
And then when he gets up to heaven, he's like, I trusted you. I was waiting for you to save me. Why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you a car. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. What more did you want? I was there. I was
there the whole time.
So that is exactly how it happened with me. I was in a brand new community, in a school of people that I did not know. And this happened to me. I did not know one soul. I know the teacher because I would drop my son off, and there was the teacher, hi teacher, bye teacher, that's it. We started to wait 5 minutes before class, and we kind of started talking to the mom, so they saw I had a belly. Oh my God, you're about to pop. That was the extent of our conversations. The first time I go to pick up my son after everything happened, they asked me what happened, and I just nodded, said no, and that's it. The teacher, remember, she went to the hospital, so she knew, and she just kind of told them, she lost a baby, give her space. I left, came back the next day. They had all pulled complete strangers. I did not know them. I didn't know their names. I didn't know their kids' names. I didn't know anybody. Complete strangers. They had all gotten together and gotten me, I think it was a journal, some gift cards to Starbucks, to do my nails, to
a gift basket, kind of.
A gift basket.
Like a basket just to
It was actually
not
a basket.
get well, but
it was an orchid. There was an orchid. There was some gift cards. I'm telling you, it was do my nails, a Target gift card, a dinner gift card.
That's so sweet.
We are here with you. We're sorry. Keep going. That moved me so much. Till this day, we still talk. Nobody goes to the same school. It was a daycare center, so we all split ways. We still talk. That created this group of community. They included me in their school events. They asked me for help. It's a Christian school. They asked me to paint the backdrop to some fall festival. They asked me to help with the background and organize the events for some Christmas stuff. And what I noticed was by including me and by having me do mundane things. I mean, I'm talking paint. I had 2 kids. One was in the class while in the school, and the baby, she was 2 or 3 years old, and they were having me do mundane things, just paint. Don't think, don't talk. Just keep your hands busy.
Wow.
Fabiana, that was God. They came to my house. They started what's called a food train. I didn't know what that was until then. Every day, a different person would show up to my house with food.
Wow.
Strangers that I did not know. Your story touched us. Here's arroz y frijoles and chicken. Feed your family today.
Wow.
They fed us, I think it was 2 months.
Wow.
It was a very long time. Very, very long time. If they couldn't, they would give us an Uber Eats gift card or something. And we started... I'm not going to say we started going to that church. We're Catholic, but God spoke to me in so many different ways, through so many different people, through strangers. Keep going. We're here for you.
It's those miracles that I talk about. Those and I say small miracles but they're miracles, and those are the miracles that's when you feel okay, maybe I'm not alone. I thought I was alone. I thought you weren't there with me. How can you let this happen to me? But then he shows up in ways where it's okay, you do want me to get better. You are here.
I see
and
you.
I see it, and it's those little miracles that help you to keep going.
Yes. So
That's
those
beautiful,
were my
though.
car, my boat, my helicopter. Those were my ladies, my moms that kept me going, gave me The next 10 hours, come to school. We need you to collect this. Tomorrow, just giving you these mundane tasks of feeling useful, where the center of my existence wasn't revolved around what had just happened to me. So, there's going to be a prayer service. If you want to join us. But if not, we need donuts. Like, making me useful to move on past something else.
And probably the sense of community also.
That's what it was. So that was how I learned the importance of the sense of community. And to this day, I still volunteer in any school that I'm at. I'm very much a part of it because I feel like it's my way of paying it forward. They helped me surpass this. So if I can be that person to one other person, if I can help one other mom move forward, then it would have come full circle and it would have been worth it.
That's so beautiful.
So God has been with me in every step of the way until we decided to have another baby. We got pregnant almost immediately from starting. And now I have Jackie, my baby. She's not a baby. She runs the house. But
how old is she?
She's 5 now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a character. She's amazing. But so I have 3 beautiful kids, and to be able to sit back and appreciate, this is what I have. This is what I'm joyful for. This is what I'm grateful for. Not what I went through. It doesn't define us, but it definitely gave us a different perspective. Thank you, Lord, for what we have. Thank you for what we've been through. Because of what we went through, we have this, this community, this love. And I was able to share that with another mom that went through this. It was 3 years ago. It was her first. It was her first, which is very difficult because you don't have a comparison to move forward. And I remember being there. That was my first time telling the story to a stranger. She wasn't a stranger, but we weren't very close. And I remember that feeling of just telling her, there's more to life after this. This is not what's going to define you. Don't stop living, because you want to creep into a hole and just let it all pass us. And I told her, just keep going. Start with small things. Give and serve and be part of something else bigger than you, so that you don't sit and think about everything. Be selfless. That is my advice. And that's my advice that I gave her. And she took that and she ran with it. And she was able to have 2 kids after that, beautiful kids. We're all very close. But being able to be selfless in a time that you think that you need to be very selfish and take on all the attention and take on everything, and being selfless and giving back to somebody else and just ignoring your pain. Not ignoring, I don't want to say ignoring, not ignoring, but the little bit that's left of you, find use for that little bit of function in you as a human, really is what it is, to give to someone else, a community, and keep you going is what pushed us along, what pushed me along, pushed my husband. My husband saw me like glowing after I felt like I can give something. I wasn't the one that died. Unfortunately, I wanted to go with him. I wanted it to be the end, but I didn't. So the little bit of me that I had left, I wanted to give that. And when you give whatever positive you have to make somebody else's life positive, you feel it tenfold. You feel the joy of being a part of something else, of being part of something bigger than you. So I gave that advice to my friend, and she ran with it. She's very much part of the community. She was back in the church, and it's just a way of moving past me. This happened to me. No, maybe it's God, and I know it's a horrible way of looking at it, but maybe it's God saying, like, this is part of the plan. There's more to you than what this will not define you. Keep going. I have a beautiful life ahead of you for you. I have a plan for you.
So how were you able to rediscover joy and like find happiness again? Because I know you said at first you were at a point where you were questioning God. Then the miracles, the small miracles started coming. Then you got involved and you were giving back and you were involved with the school, right?
Right.
and then you were staying busy, which I agree. It's the whole, stay in bed and don't get up from bed. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't help in any way. You have to get up. You have to keep going. You have to do something where you're being useful. It doesn't have to be anything. Like you said, you were just painting a board, but you were being useful in some way, shape, or form, or you felt like you were helping, right, with the school. So, but at what point do you go from feeling useful or staying busy to feeling that joy again?
So it's not instant. It's definitely a meditation. You have to reflect. So it didn't occur to me that everything that God was placing in our path was the way. I had to be speaking to somebody else for me to say, oh, this is what it was. Like, this was God's way of helping me move forward. This was our message, that there is life, that he's here, he's present, like, to be able to move forward. So as far as joy, it was multiple steps. It was the reflection of it after a couple of months, because September to December, I want to say 3 months, after Christmas and everything was like my lowest point. I had already, like I said, I had already been part of the community, but you hit the low point and then you start to reflect. How am I going to, who's there? Is God there? How am I going to move forward? And then you look back and you're like, he was there. I can move forward. I have his permission to move forward. I can do this. Let's try this again. Because I wanted to, at one point I wanted to tie my tubes. Never again. I'm never going to do this again.
I mean, it was traumatic as it was because, and maybe not more so, the experience of you think you're going to give birth, you go to the hospital and you have the C-section, the baby's already no heartbeat, to then now the disaster of the hospital not being able to guide you, and then having this, not being in the maternity ward, like all of what happened after the baby came out was traumatic as it is. Like, of course it would make you not want to have another, I don't want to go through this again. I'm good.
No.
Thank you. I'm good. No,
Try again.
No. But, so reflecting or meditating, whichever.
Yes.
Is that something that you started doing after?
So I actually ended up, somebody had already been through it, which is another thing. Nobody talks about this. When you talk about it, they're like, oh, yes, my mom went through this, my sister went through this. So somebody told me that their sister had gone through it, and they said, wait 3 months, and after 3 months, then go and talk to somebody.
Okay.
Because you're in the denial phase, you're still mourning, you're still going through many iterations of the grieving process. So I did. I followed it to the T. After Christmas, my lowest point, I did start to see a family counselor that focused on maternity and loss.
Okay.
And she was amazing. She helped sort out. You have small superstitions. If I do this again, it's gonna happen again. So that's like an anxiety, a superstition. And she's like, but you believe in God? And I'm like, yes. She goes, why don't you have faith? I'm like, you're right. Why don't I have faith? Why don't I have faith to move on? And then she kind of broke it down. It took her 3 sessions, and she's like, okay, you're talking to me, and I think you've graduated. If you have medical clearance, you're good. And I got pregnant a month later.
Oh, wow.
Because I just felt fulfilled. She pointed out what I explained to you. Looking back, there's this history of you being useful, this community, the support system, your family, your friends. You have the support, you have the joy. Find it, and let's move on. And she guided me through that. So I do owe a lot to her for those. It was I want to say it's 3 or 4 sessions.
So family counselor. But it sounds like she was a family counselor
for maternity specific. It was maternity and loss.
But that was God-based or faith-based. It sounds like.
So I don't really know her her point in it. I don't know her position in it, but she pointed out mine.
Okay.
So she asked me.
She worked with what you believed in.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's like, you're getting things confused because as a Cuban, you're raised with like el azabache and you're raised with like the superstitions.
All the superstitions.
And she's like, you're putting this on your kids with a superstition because my kids are Cuban, we're Cuban. So they had an azabache and she's like, but you're also Christian. So like, you have to decide. I'm like, you're right. Like, why am I superstitious? I had an azabache. After that, I'm like, oh my God, everybody, like, we got to get the evil spirits out, whatever. She like, decide, what are you? And I'm like, okay, nobody wears jewelry ever again. They never put jewelry on again until they had their communion. That's the only thing they were allowed to wear.
So you picked.
So I picked.
You picked.
You
picked Team Jesus.
Thank God. No, it's confusing in some ways when you're raised with a superstition and you're raised Catholic and Christian. There's some things that there's a room for both.
Yeah.
So you have to decide. And at that point, she's like, "You got this. God is with you. Like He's been here. Have you noticed She's like, have you noticed when you're talking, you have all of these things to be grateful for? I'm like, you're right.
The miracles.
Like, you're right. I have this wonderful thing. I have a wonderful husband that's supportive. These kids that like come to me and just shower me with love. I'm very blessed. This community that I've built, these friends and my family that just support me throughout the way. They call me to find out how I'm doing. And it's these small acts of kindness and well, not mercy, but like they just show that His presence. Like, you're right. Like, what am I afraid of? Let's do this. And I got pregnant and I was like, scared. But wow, like I can do this. I will have faith. We were very cautious with everything moving forward. We had like 20,000 doctor's appointments, triple what the normal amount is. I would get scared and I'd go in, and so it was different, but I was able to, and we moved forward, and she's thriving, our family is thriving, and I'm able to speak and be here with you now, because otherwise it would be very dark. It's easy to go into the dark place without finding a purpose. So
how would you say, what would you say what's a good way for family and friends to support someone after they've gone through a similar situation to yours? So like what would you say are some do's and don'ts?
Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Because I did lose one friend, and it's just, they didn't know how to respond. You know, like treating you like with kid gloves, you know, I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do with you or how to respond to you. The other friends and family just text me every day. Like, just acknowledge my presence. It's not the end of the world for me. There is life at the end. They don't have to say all that, but just one friend of mine, Katie, would just text me every morning. It was probably on autopilot. Hey, sunshine, how are you today? Not how are you, not how is the family, just how are you today? And I'm like, you know, I've had better days, but today is okay. And like, I'm a great today. It's a tough day. Today we did this, but it's good. Like, just check in and acknowledge the presence to make them feel like present.
Like
really.
They're there.
Like they're there.
Yeah.
That was, I think, one of the most memorable, like memory with, I'm sorry, I'm repeating the words, but just checking in, just saying hi. If you live in Tampa and we're in Miami and you can't be there for them, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are you today? Like, every once in a while, that alone, because I didn't want to sit there and have the whole conversation every time. I heard what happened. How do I help you? I'm so sorry. Like, that initial conversation that was painful. And I had to tell that story in the first couple of days to everybody. But hey, how are you? Those were just like, I just need you to touch base. That's what it was.
Just touch base.
Just touch base.
And just know that I'm thinking of you. I'm there. I'm here. I'm praying for you.
That went really far.
And the food train.
The food train was...
And the food train.
Oh my God. That was so
the
amazing.
Food train, guys. The food train is good.
The food train was awesome. It was
And
great.
I know I'm laughing, but we have to make light of it. Because if not, we're going to be here crying con los mocos afuera. No.
I know. There was one that was, she had just started a keto diet. Keto wasn't like that popular back then. She started a keto diet and she gave us a keto meal. God bless her. We looked at it and we're like, what is this?
What is this?
how to
cheese and
cheese,
what is
mayonnaise,
it?
and chicken.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. And she looked great. It worked for her. But we like, how do I give this to my kid?
At least she sent it.
What do I do?
You mix that with the rice and beans.
Oh my God. Take out the chicken. Oh my, with instructions, pop it in the oven.
With instructions.
God bless. She was amazing. She was super amazing. And they just kept coming. But just acknowledge your presence. Check in. Hi, how are you? You don't have to have long conversations. I don't need to like have the whole story all over again. But just being present. That
Just
went a
show
long
up.
way. And my husband supported me by just holding my hand through everything and guiding me on and being a leader in the family and how to proceed and how to move forward so that we had a constant.
How did he know? Like, did he know? Did
What
he
to
know what
do?
to do? Did he have like previous experience with loss, or how did he know?
I'm not sure. No, he didn't have any previous experience. I think it was just his way of, I know I needed to have something to fall back on to make sure that there was a constant, and we had our kids to
Right.
continue on for. So he led the way with that.
That's beautiful.
He was good. Yeah.
That's beautiful. No, and at least, and I think knowing as a wife, knowing that you have someone there, being your husband, that you can just cry and just hold you when you're crying, that to me, that was everything. Just knowing that I can cry, I don't have to feel guilty for crying. If I need to cry, I cry, and it's okay, and it's not, you're not being judged or looked at like, oh, why is she crying again? And it's funny because my husband said something after Dex's passing, and he said, you're gonna cry probably, because I told him, one day I started crying, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm crying again. And it was like a couple of months later, and he's like, it's okay. You're gonna cry for the rest of your life about him. It's okay. So it was almost like he was already expecting for me to cry about him until the day that I die.
Yeah.
And it's true. There's going to be days that you remember something and something triggers you, and that day you just have to have a cry. Even if a cry is just a tear, you know?
Yeah.
But just knowing that it's okay, and that you're expecting as the husband that your wife is going to need to cry at some point, maybe the rest of her life, because we never forget. We never forget them. So just having that comfort was everything. It meant everything.
There's a saying that came out recently. A friend of mine posted, "We don't lose them once; we lose them 1,000 times." So every first Christmas without them, every first this without them, the first wedding.
The firsts are all hard.
Yeah. Well, there's 1,000 firsts, so you lose them 1,000 times, and for every moment you acknowledge, and you get to the point where it would have been different, but thank you, Lord, for where I am right now.
Yeah.
Let me move forward.
I have a friend that she was in one of the episodes. Her name is Jackie, and she said it beautifully. She said, we don't move on, we move forward.
Yes.
I was like, oh, yeah, that is so true.
Yep.
So what words of encouragement would you give a mom who, and I know you've already touched on some of this stuff, but maybe we can just kind of like bring it together.
Okay.
What words of encouragement would you give to a mom that maybe is going through a similar situation to yours right now, or maybe she just went through it and she's in that deep,
The darkness.
dark moment where it's like there's no light of day? Like, what would you say to that mom?
Oh, wow. So find somewhere or something to give the little bit of beautifulness that you have to share with somebody else. Go out, get out of the house.
Get out of the bed.
Do not stay at the house. Move, like get into a community place, a school. Share your time with somebody else, something else, and make yourself useful in a different way and be selfless. Those are very hard to do, and it's not a very straightforward answer. There is no manual, because it depends on the life that you have and the community that you are a part of right now. But being able to throw yourself into something that is not your story helps you kind of put things into perspective in a different way. And I mean, that to me was key. Throwing yourself into something that did not revolve around the story. Be selfless, the church, a community, even your job, like do a little bit more in that sense. But that, I think that would be my advice, to be selfless in giving in some other way. A neighbor that needs your help or cooking or something, it could go a long way.
I love that. And I'm so proud of you for
Thank you.
how far you've come, and it makes me happy to see that even through such a dark time, you were able to find happiness and find gratitude for how far you've come and where you are today, and for all the blessings that you have and that you have had. Because one of the hardest things is going through such a dark moment, but still being able to recognize the little miracles or the small blessings.
Yeah.
You know, that's very difficult. So I think that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you.
And I really hope that we can reach other moms that are maybe going through a similar situation to yours, and that we can give them hope and light and know that healing is possible at the end of all this. So thank you.
Thank you again. This was very
Thank
wonderful.
you, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us today. And don't forget to like the podcast. If you know a mom that has lost and loved and lost, please share this video with her, share this podcast with her, so that together we can help give her some healing and let her know that hope is possible, healing is possible, and she's not in this alone, and that happiness is possible at the end of, or on the other side of loss, I should say. Thank you so much.